I did Jimmy Fallon, Good Morning America, Good Day New York, and I did that because I performed at Christina Aguilera's house at a Hillary Clinton fundraiser. Weird as hell. All that came from doing a remix of a song from a popular artist, A Great Big World. They had the song called Say Something. They saw my remix and put me on their next single. They had sent that song to Macklemore and other artists, but they liked my version better, put me on the song. At the end of the day, what I'm saying is no collab is too big or small. So I just outworked everybody. And then when I found a gap in the space, I was just like, okay, how can I build something that fills this gap?
It brings us all together for a night we all remember. The kind of times we want to last forever. An unforgettable experience. Moments spent with all our friends, gathering around the dinner table.
What's up, everyone? Welcome back to Lobster and Beer TV. I'm your host, Brian Thompson. Today's guest is arguably the biggest hip-hop artist to come out of the state of Arizona.
Let's go.
With a keen business sense to complement his undeniable talent as a musician. He was a pioneer in the influencer marketing game, creating viral videos like Nerd Raps that's racked up over 30 million views to promote his music. He's collaborated with peeps like Tech9, NF, Lazy Bone, Dizzy Wright, and Mac Lethal, just to name a few. So ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, coming to us live from Mesa, Arizona with a lobster and a beer, Futuristic!
Yo, if black people could blush, I'd be blushing right now. Come on, talk to me nice. I love it.
Respect, man. How are you, brother?
Good, super good, man. Doing a million things at once per usual. So I'm glad I get to, have dinner with what seems to be some cool folks right now. Looks like you're popping your Angry Orchard. I just popped mine and added my Fireball to it to give it a little angry balls, get the angry balls jumping off. And
the angry ball. Did you coin that phrase yourself?
Nah, I don't think so. I feel like somebody else, probably my DJ. My DJ always has like, we just throw out random shit and it sticks, So pretty sure he probably said that one first.
I love that, man. Yeah. So cider's your go-to. Like, first of all, cheers.
Cheers to
Futuristic.
Futuristic.
It's good to have
Thank you for joining us.
Yes, sir.
Give me that.
Hey.
Oh yeah.
So when it comes to like beer and cider, what's like your main cider that you love the most?
So I'll be real. I'm not a huge beer guy. Never have been a huge beer guy. Sorry, I know the show's name is Lobster and Beer. The only beer I'll really drink is like ciders or something that has like a little flavor to it. So yeah, Angry Orchard, Reds, like there's all sorts of different flavored, pretty much any flavored beer I'm rocking with it. A pear ale or whatever. I'm not a beer connoisseur, but anything with a little twist on it, I'm rocking with it. Yeah, but Angry Orchard was like the first cider that I got introduced to, so I figured that was like the most common one. Let's rock one of those out.
When you're on the road or in the studio, then though, what are you normally drinking and stuff?
I am a Ciroc guy for the most part. I make these so my drink is called the Zachary Daiquiri. Ooh. So that's you put a flavored Ciroc like a mango or an apple Ciroc, and then you do like a cran white peach juice. You do some Malibu and you do a splash of Red Bull. Goes crazy.
Oh goddamn! We should have just altered and done that. That sounds fantastic.
It's wild, bro. You don't even taste it, and then like you're wasted, and after 2 or 3 of them, and you're like, damn, what happened to me?
The difference with the Ciroc too is because Ciroc is grape-based vodka. It's made with grapes instead, so it hits a little bit differently. It feels a little nicer.
It's mad smooth. I was just in Nashville and actually was drinking a lot of Honey Jack. That was good too. I kind of did not the same concoction, but like I'll rock with a Crown Apple with a Honey Jack. But for the most part, like my rider is 2 bottles of Ciroc in those mixers specifically. And
I love it.
And the food and all that stuff. So yeah.
Speaking of your drink of choice, now let's move to the lobster roll.
Yeah.
Tell us about the special ingredient that you added.
Yeah, I added some Chipotle mayo to it. I feel like you can never go wrong with Chipotle mayo. My two go-to ingredients, like what's weird is growing up, I never liked any sauce on anything. I was a weirdo. I always got everything plain. And now my two go-tos are Chipotle mayo or pesto. So it was between those two. But yeah, Chipotle mayo has a little, I don't want to say it has spice, but more than pesto does. So I'm like on a lobster roll, lobster's kind of tame anyway. So like add the Chipotle, it probably smacks.
Yeah. Have you eaten lobster rolls before? Are you a fan of lobster? Is it something that you order sometimes
Yeah,
at
it's
a
not
restaurant,
something that
especially when you're up north?
I when I'm on the East Coast, for sure, we go crazy with the seafood when we're on the East Coast. You love a good lobster mac and cheese from Mastro's. My goodness. If you haven't had that, goes crazy. But yeah, before we hopped on here, I was saying, I wonder if this is from Portland, Maine, because when I was in Portland, Maine, I was tearing up a lobster roll.
Sir.
So I think this is from there, right?
Yeah, it's from straight from the docks to the doorstep is the partner that we have. They're called Get Maine Lobster.
Boom.
And it's an incredible company, man. The guy Mark who started it, he's doesn't even consider himself a CEO or an entrepreneur. He considered himself a storyteller, and that's what really drew me to him, because he took this idea of taking, something that's a delicacy in the world that comes only from Maine. You can get Caribbean lobster, West Coast lobster, but there's nothing like Maine lobster. So he takes this thing that people would love, and everyone comes to Maine and enjoys it, but you can't get Maine lobster fresh around the country. So he created a company where you can ship live lobsters, or like this, a couple pounds or a pound or 2 pounds of actual lobster meat that you can make a lobster roll with. Look at that, man.
Boom. Ooh,
yes, sir.
Yeah, looking good.
Yes, sir. Yeah, so his whole point was to be able to create an experience for families. And that's where it connected with me, because I grew up, in Maine in the summer, and my family, we would always like sit around a picnic table just like this one and crack lobsters and have an experience together and have this conversation, this vibe. And it was some of the, my favorite moments from my childhood. So it was such an easy concept when it all kind of came together with drinking, eating lobster, and kicking it with people that were, very interested in learning more about, who Futuristic is in your life. And now we have this one medium to create that conversation between us.
That's dope, man. That's dope. I appreciate y'all having me on for sure.
Absolutely. So, dude, I want to dive into it, man. You've had an incredible career, and how old are you now? 28?
30.
You're 30 now.
I'm the
shit.
Big 3-0. Crazy.
Yo,
yeah,
after
30.
this, can you hit me up with the skincare routine? I'm fucked, bro.
Black don't crack, fam. Black don't crack. It's only so much I can do for you.
I respect it. But yo, man, you like looking back at your timeline and the way you've come up, it was very, very interesting to me, because you approach things in a very pioneering way. And I'd love to go back to the beginning and kind of fast forward a little bit through, those high school days, those early days. Like, when did hip hop come into your life, and when did you start rapping?
Yeah, man. People always look at me crazy when I'm like, yeah, I've been rapping for 25 years, because I really been rapping since I was 5 years old. My dad was in bands. My dad's a drummer, DJ, bass player. And so like from the day I was born, he plays music all around the house. Like, he doesn't operate without music. Even when I bought my house, like the first thing that we bought for the house, I had no furniture. First thing we bought was the Sonos speakers so that we could play music while we were setting up the furniture.
Yeah.
So it really just started at that young age. My whole family's just in music. My oldest brother is a talent buyer at a venue in Illinois. My next oldest brother plays like crazy heavy metal guitar, like can play any Metallica lick, like is nasty. That's and awesome. Produces hip hop beats. My next brother is a rapper as well. Then there's me, and my younger siblings do music as well. So it just was in the blood and in the home from jump. So I really was selling CDs, mini discs at 5 years old. I really was performing at 5 years old. I really was doing talent shows at 5, 6 years old. Like,
What were
So
some of the early inspirations and CDs that you were listening to at that time?
yeah, I mean, obviously being so young, it was like, don't listen to curse words, right? So Will Smith was like one of the first rappers that I
Yes.
really was on. And then it kind of transitioned from like, I'd say early, it was like Will Smith. Then it was like,
Are you talking like Big Willie style, Will 2K? Like
yeah,
what was your
Big Willie
go-to?
Style was like the
Yeah.
first album I think I probably had.
Yeah.
Big Willie Style, that I bought with my own money was probably Big Willie Style. Then like Ludacris, Eminem, Busta Rhymes,
Oh
all the
yeah.
animated fast type rappers, kind of like I loved it. That was when music videos were big, like the Missy Elliott videos, the
Oh
Ludacris,
yeah.
Timbaland, all that stuff was just like, and I loved that. I never really liked, people that were kind of monotone and just like rapped. I liked the entertainment value of a Busta Rhymes video or
Oh yeah.
Eminem, Missy Elliott, or Ludacris. So yeah, those were my early influences for sure.
How did you stray off onto this hip hop path and really, was your family a part of that as you started to run off on that path?
So I'm from Illinois originally, and
Oh shit.
so
Okay.
yeah, early on, it was like my dad played the drums, and my oldest brother, or not oldest, second oldest, made beats and stuff, and then me and my brother that rapped, we'd rap over it, right? So it was like that was our thing
That's
while I
dope.
lived there. When I was
Yeah.
14, I moved to Arizona, and I had to do it on my own. So being out here, it was like, okay, cool, they're not here. Then I had to really just kind of create the lane for myself and do things myself. And so that's really when it started, and when it took off was actually being out here, being forced to learn. I don't really engineer myself anymore, but I was forced to learn to engineer myself. I was forced to learn
What DAW were you using back then?
dude, I was using, I don't even know if you'd call it a DAW. It was
No, it's
Aspen.
probably like an 8-track or something,
It
right?
was, I recorded on tapes. I recorded on all sorts of stuff. I had a multi-track, and I actually recorded on the computer on Acid Music Studios. I don't even think,
I've heard of that. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I
yeah,
actually
yeah.
used that back in the day. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I used that because they had like all these loops and stuff. So I'd make the beats with the loops. I'd record on there. I had a super shitty computer mic. And then like I got a better mic. I started recording other people, like turned it into a business right at like 15 years old.
Did you have like back in the day, like most of the shitty computer mics were like the Bob Barker mic? It was like
Yep, that's exactly what I had. The white one. Yeah, the white long john. Yep.
That's awesome.
And like you said, that when you moved, that kind of really escalated, or your music really took off. Then, did you notice that when you started doing it yourself, did you really start to branch out a little more and do different things than you were doing back in Illinois, or just that was when it took off?
I wouldn't say that it took off. It didn't. I didn't like take off in high school. It was just that I was forced to do it on my own. So it was just like learning things and kind of developing and really moving the needle even within my school and stuff. But the interesting dynamic is I didn't live with my dad even when I lived in Illinois as I was making music for the most part. So it was like, even then I still had to I went to different schools than my brothers. So I still had to like sell our album at my school, and I still had to do all those things. So we always did it together, but also separate. But moving out here was definitely a bigger transition of just growing into my own and focusing myself.
Yeah. First off, dude, the Chipotle mayo tastes really fucking
Dude,
good.
I haven't
Man.
even had a bite yet. I
Bro,
need
get
to-
in,
Oh,
take
dude,
a
get
second,
in on
please.
that.
Get into it. Get into it.
So
Oh
you
man, I
both-
feel bad. I've been asking you all these questions. Yeah, get in on that. And he
Pulled
hasn't
him
even been
up.
able to take a
All
bite
right.
yet.
The Cole man right here, man. Let the man eat.
That's why I look at Big Al all the time. I'm like, yo, can you start asking some questions just so I can start eating this shit?
Oh wow,
How is it?
this is going crazy. The Chipotle is a great addition. I'm not mad. I might be on something right here.
Dude, I think so, man. Like we've done a whole range of different styles now since we started the show. But there's two different, original styles of a lobster roll. There's the main lobster roll, which the base is mayonnaise and some seasoning. And then there's the Connecticut lobster roll where there's no mayonnaise. The base is hot butter. So you're taking the main lobster roll and adding this like new touch to it, which We haven't done this yet, which I'm surprised.
I agree, because Chipotle mayo is always good, and I was excited, super excited to hear about it. And like you said, this definitely works. This slaps.
It slaps,
This
yeah.
Chipotle mayo is top notch. I've never had the Sir Kensington's. Is that your go-to?
I mean, whatever's there. Like Chipotle mayo is usually pretty good. I think I've only had one Chipotle mayo where I was like, this ain't it. But all the other ones, they're pretty similar. But yeah, this one, you're right, does have more smoky than the other one.
Smoke, yeah. So you didn't want to put the pesto on the lobster roll?
Not this time. I felt like Chipotle would be a little bit better, but I'm sure pesto smacks too.
I would be interested. That would be.
I think it would be good.
That would be a left field hit.
I think it would. I think you honestly though, you can make you can almost do anything with good lobster, and like and it would work. Like you get fresh lobster, fresh pesto.
That's true.
You got to hit it right there for sure.
So, dude, I have a question, man. So you grew up in a musical family, and so it was inherently in you to make music and, in a sense, live that lifestyle, pursue it. But is there a first moment that you had that you were like, oh shit, like I can actually make a career out of this and a life out of this?
It's wild, man. I mean, I thought that a lot of times, right? I thought it when I was really young, and there was this thing called the Culture Fest that we did in Illinois. And I had to have been like in second grade, maybe third. I could think the first time, like I won my school's talent show doing it. And I was like, whoa, I'm nice. It's going down. And then I won an audition to do another festival. Like, and I'm competing against grown ass men. You know what I'm saying? It's like, you can only perform one song. I'm up here 8 years old bodying, so like, I never felt like it wasn't going to be my career. I always felt like somehow, some way it's going to happen. Yeah. I guess when I got older, I always did business things around music. So before I was, I guess, making money off music, I was throwing parties and performing at the parties and making money that way. Or I was booking other artists to perform and opening up for them and making money that way. Or I was hosting, we had a teen club out here and I hosted the teen club and got paid that way. So it was just like, everything was based around music. So it was my career my whole life. I was literally getting paid in elementary school selling my CDs. Like I'd walk up and down the lunch line, and if people weren't getting the free lunch, I'd be like, you're buying my album.
I love that.
Yeah, you got $5. Cool. Here's my Lunchable and here's my album. I'll trade you.
Were you always like creating these insane things to sell your music? That's just who you were? Yeah,
it was just like I said, I think that no matter what, I knew it was going to happen someday. So I just thought of every single way to survive off of music in some way, shape, or form. And then what happened with like the crazy marketing, I think that everybody talks about, is like the nerd rap was the first thing that kind of finally really kicked the door open.
Double XL, man, I want the cover. There's no way that I'm not in the conversation. I don't have no patience unless it's patience from playing Operation. I'm castrating anybody that's hating. I ain't trying to be famous, I'm just trying to make payment from what I'm making. I'm frustrated, about to go Super Saiyan. And I'm causing mayhem when I rap. I got a coffin in the back, and if you talking in the coffin's where you at? I'm sick, I be coughing on the track. I'm exhausted from the raps, I'm trying to kick it with the broad that's on the map. Shit, make her squirt like the Holdus and a dolphin on his back.
And that came from, I was watching this dude while I was on YouTube or Facebook. I think it was on Facebook. And I saw this dude and he was working out and he was eating junk food while he was working out. And as I look closer at the video, I'm like, this dude is at my gym. I go to this gym. And it was Big Dawes TV.
Yep.
So I'm like, let me follow this dude. I go to follow him and he's like, bro, big fan. I guess I'll smoke is my shit. So after I reached out, he's like, let's do something. So people don't even know, we did like 2 or 3 pranks before we did the nerd rap. Like we did one called Staring at Strangers, awkwardly staring at strangers. It's the most uncomfortable shit I've ever done. You just go up to people and just look at them. And it's mad awkward. So like we did that, but he linked my video to it and was like, yo, if you like the video, make sure you go follow Futuristic and check out his new song. And I got like 15,000 views off of that. So I'm like, okay, we need to make a prank based around the rap. Then he actually did a nerd rap before me. And then that's when I'm like, yeah, you're not even a rapper and people are loving this. Let me do it and let's go crazy. And so he agreed to do it. And I think it's like still top 5 videos ever on his channel. And he's got like 8 million subscribers. And it changed my life and crushed for him and changed a lot of my homies' lives. You know what I'm saying? Just
Absolutely.
from
and low key.
Yeah. And that leading up to that, it's not like you just miraculously have that moment and it clicks
No.
and it hits, right?
Hell no.
There's a full path of hustling, struggling, trying, failing that happens. And
sure.
then you finally hit that one piece. But behind all of that, that path is inspired by a mentality of being driven. And hey, I don't care about, you know, what's being said from the outside world. Like I have a dream, a goal that I'm going to hustle to, and I'm going to work towards that. No matter what, I will find a way to do that.
You're laser
That comes
focused.
from something inside. Where do you like, did that come from your family? How you grew up? Like, where did that drive come from?
Honestly, when I look back, like, because a lot of people ask me that, I think that it was just no matter what, like I could never feel sorry for myself. I could never be down on myself. I never had the time to be any of those things. It was just like, this is the situation. How do we get out of it? This is the situation. How do we make it better? You know, like my parents split. We had my parents split multiple times, but you know, we kind of went in phases where it was like, okay, we're broke. Okay, now we got bread. Okay, now we're broke again. And like a lot of people, and when I'm talking about broke, like I went back to my old house and I looked at the Zillow, and my old house is $22,000. That's how
crazy.
poverty, the spot we were living in was. So we went from like a $300,000 house to that house, and where most people I feel like would be like, and we moved into the worst neighborhood in the country, literally worst neighborhood in the country. When the list comes out every year, the town I lived in is on this list. So anyways, it's just like, no matter what happened, I just had to persevere through it. And so when you're building a career and a brand, and what I built, no matter what happened, no matter how many no's I got, it didn't matter, right? Because I have to do this. And so when my parents split, it was just like me, my mom, and my little brother, and she's working a job, going to school. Matter of fact, at one point she was working 2 jobs. So like, and she works nights. So what the fuck am I to do besides take care of what I have to take care of? And I can't feel sorry for myself. I can't be down. Bro's got to get to school. I got to get to basketball practice. I got to record this music. I got to get my homework done. And there's no time to feel sorry for yourself. So I think that all of that combined gave me a mentality that was like, don't be a bitch, just do it.
Yeah,
And
you were forced to grow up fast.
really, really fast, really fast.
And not
I'm
only
not mad
grow
at
up
it.
fast, but you were, in a sense, responsible for your siblings
Oh,
too,
for sure,
and
for sure.
taking care of them. So that, because my older brother, man, I'll be honest with you, like, you know, we don't have to get into it, but I was a piece of shit growing up. And yeah, man, like to the point where like it got dark where, you know, I almost took my own life. And that's why part of this show, you know, we do a huge push with mental health, because
Love
that's
that.
been such
I love that.
a big thing in my life, right? And I was a piece of shit, but if it wasn't for my 2 older brothers that had to take care of me and step in when no one else was taking care of me for the time, in terms of being there emotionally and loving and being that strength, I wouldn't be here today. And my older brother, still to this day, like, that's the mentality he has, that like, I'm the keeper of the Cubs. I'm going to make sure that everyone's fed, everyone's taken care of. And that's his mindset. And it fucks with me sometimes, because we'll be out and we'll be having a good time at like the club or something, right? And I'll be acting a fool, and he'll be like, "You got to stop doing that. That guy was looking at you wrong. I need to protect you in this moment right now."
Yeah.
I mean, I'm exaggerating, but that's the mentality he has, and I have always envied that, because I wasn't put in those circumstances. Luckily, I had the older brother to take care of me. But
Right.
I know for him, the weight on his shoulders throughout the years of that responsibility,
It's crazy,
one,
right?
helped him become the man he is.
Yeah.
But 2, also, like, there was stress there. And I'm sure you probably went through that as well.
Oh, for sure, man. It's I always carry the weight of the world on my shoulders, but like, it's kind of like, I look at it almost like Kobe Bryant was my favorite athlete, is my favorite athlete of all time. And
Yes, sir.
you know, you could see it on him. He carried the weight of the world on his shoulders. But at the end of the day, I rather have Kobe take a contested shot over 3 people with the game on the line than have fucking Devin George shoot the shot in the corner. Like, and that's just kind of how I am. Like, I'm shooting the shot, period. And I can live and die with the results. And you, like I said, you just can't really get me down at this point. And I've always kind of been like that. And when you talk about mental health, I don't know if you've heard my song Music Saved My Life, but the pressure was so heavy on me then that, like, just like yourself, like, I was at a point where I was very, in a very dark place and, very close to suicide and on the edge. And all that came from the pressure, the deadline that I put on myself, that if I'm not on by the time I'm 25, none of this shit is worth it. It doesn't work. It's this, it's that. So, it is a lot of pressure, but at the same time, like, what I carry, I would never wish anyone else to carry. Period. Yeah. Like, I carry it. I got it. I'll take care of everything. Don't worry about it. And all I want is for everybody else to be happy. So, like, I'm definitely that person in my family to where it's like, give me all the bags. I got y'all. Y'all just go enjoy. I
love that, man.
Gave me chills. I love that.
Yeah,
I love that.
That's powerful, man. And that's a lot to take on. Like, so you have to do a lot of inner work to be able to take on that weight and that responsibility. So speaking to the 15-year-old kid that's in a very similar situation that you were in at that age, who's going through it right now, what are maybe some routines, things you do in the morning, mindset stuff that you do to help you operate at the level that you do and, find the success that you've found?
I'm trying to put myself back into what really snapped me out of everything. And I think it was just gratitude. I think,
my dude speaks my language. 100%.
I think just gratitude and, like, realizing that so many people in the world have it way worse than you and are walking around with a smile on their face. Like, this isn't something that I discovered back then, but once I started traveling and seeing the world, like going to islands and seeing people that literally don't even have electricity, like people that don't have people that live in huts and shit, walking out of their house, smiling, so excited, so happy. And so what I think what I've come to realize now is that part of the reason why we are how we are and why we carry these burdens and these stresses and all these expectations is because it's kind of forced on us, and we compare ourselves. We're on social media looking and comparing ourselves to everybody, whether it be their body, their money, their success, their place in life. We're doing that every single day. We're taking feedback from all these different people. It's just constant comparison. And so what I do now, when I wake up, the first thing that I do a morning meditation, like stretch, and then I do something physical to get my mind, or my mind, my body. So I get my mind going, I stretch, I do something physical, I go play basketball, I run, I do whatever, and then I get to work. So it's like, once you're doing that, you're putting yourself in a position to where, like, your mind is open, your body is open, your spirit is open, and you can't just wake up and jump on social media. You can't, right before you go to bed, still be on social media scrolling. Like, get the fuck off your phone, stop comparing yourself. And I can say, even before I realized, like, before I traveled, right? Like, when I made The Greatest and when I made, like, my biggest album, The Rise, I had an epiphany then, because that was right
after.
Dope
album, by the way. Dope album.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Yeah, it was then where I stopped comparing myself. I was just like, you know what? I'm me. I'm not any of these other people. And whatever's meant for me is going to be, which is a very hard thing to realize. But what's meant for me is going to be, and I'm going to get there somehow, some way, at some time. And it might not even be what I think my dream is. It might be something completely different. Yeah. But through me being myself, I'm going to get there. So I'm just going to give my all to this thing that consumes me. And when it's all said and done, I'm going to be in a place that I love. So as far as exercises, what I tell people to do, if you're a 15-year-old kid watching this interview, let's say you don't know necessarily, maybe you don't know your purpose in life. You don't know what you're going to be, right? I have a brother who's 17 and he stresses about his purpose. He doesn't know what he's going to be, what he's going to do. He's about to graduate high school. What the fuck is next, right? Mm-hmm. What I tell people is write down the 10 things that you love the most. Write down the 10 things that you love the most, and write down every single job you can either work for or every business that you can create that aligns with these things. Where the most things connect. That's your main thing that you should focus on. And that's what I do. Every business that you've seen me start comes from that. Comes from a note in my phone that has 150 different business ideas that stem from the 10 things that I love the most. And every year you'll see me do more shit. And I promise you it came from that list.
Yo,
So
fuck Grant Cardone, bro. Futuristic needs to start teaching the fucking the career seminars on how to get it going. Goddamn.
come on. So yeah, and that's really my focus is like I found my passion for me, even music. Like music was, yes, a passion, but I have realized that I love the marketing and the business of it more. So like that's what I'm getting into. Like I want to do motivational speaking. I want to do public speaking on all these different things. And I do educational videos on Indie Amplify to talk about these things just because I'm very passionate about it. And I wouldn't say that this was my dream when I was 15, but now I enjoy doing this more than I loved the music. So once again, you'll land where you're supposed to be. That athlete who ends up becoming the coach, you know what I'm saying? Or the personal trainer or whatever. That's what he was meant to fucking do.
Yeah.
So follow what you love and it'll lead you to a career.
See, I mean, there's so many levels to our path and our future and what we do. And I don't think there's, you know, a end all be all of like, this is my profession. This is what I'm going to do for the rest of my life. Cause you got to think about a sports athlete, like, you know, someone like Kobe, right? Like Kobe had one of the best careers in sports history and then moved on to start, you know, the academy and teaching. And then he had an Oscar, right? For his,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's like, so there's multiple levels to stuff. And I love what you said. Like, you know, it's inspiring for the kids that are listening to think, you know, hey, like you can run at one thing and you can have a list of things that you want to do, but you find this one thing that you want to run with, but that might end up hitting, you know, it's like the Robert Frost, two roads diverge at a narrow wood. You might hit this split where it's like, I can keep going with this, but it's not really where my passion and drive is at right now. But it's brought me to this place where I can go this way now. And what you're saying with the business, man, and that's what's impressed me, like digging into what you've done. This dude brought you to me, and I started digging into what you did, and I was like, holy shit, man. Like, this guy not only has independently created something so organic and beautiful that has touched so many people, but dude, like through and through, and now having this conversation with you, it's real. It translates and it's beautiful. And then to look at it on like a biz standpoint, it's like you were in my intro, like you were at the forefront of influencer marketing, right? Like you were taking people who were crushing it on like Vine, and now like, hey, come join me on this video. You bring your fans, I'll bring my fans, and now we're gonna double down. Like that mentality is on another level. That's not just the artist, because a lot of these days, right, the art, and don't get me wrong, I'm not hating on them, but the artist is the talent, and they sit back and say, hey, I'm gonna live in the studio all day, I'm gonna play shows, I'm gonna do this, and the label will take care of everything else. You have been the talent and the label and the business side, and now what I'm hearing is like, you're like, man, I'm gonna start to like really focus on this business side and give back to the community. And that is Indie Amplify. And that's what I want to talk about now, dude. Tell us about that. Cause I started studying it, and I think you're onto something really special, and you have something very unique to give to the next generation.
Thank you. Yeah. I mean, every business is kind of just formed from a lack of, you know, like there's nothing like this. There's not something that fulfills all these needs that I have. And so, or you're getting hit up so much about something that it turns into a business, even though you didn't think it was going to be. So for me, it was like, I've always had, because I did it independently, I've had people drop off of labels and hit me like, yo, I never did shit for myself. The label did it all. How did you get all this shit? Or I've had people that are on the come up that are like, how did you get all this shit? So, and then I've formed relationships throughout the process that people are like, how can you link? I got this thing for this person. How can I get in touch with them? So basically, Indie Amplify started from me being like, I'm tired of doing favors for people
Yep.
every single day.
Yep.
Because it's just the time of like, I'm calling this guy to link him with this guy. I'm negotiating in the middle. I'm doing all this stuff. And it's like, I want y'all to work together, but me being the middleman is taking up too much of my time. So Indie Amplify is all my resources. That was their initial thought for Indie Amplify was I was helping people do playlisting. And so I started doing playlisting and for Spotify. And so I got 20, 30 artists hitting me every week to get their songs on playlists. And I'm like, there's got to be an easier way. Then I'm like, well, I got people that hit me to do songs with Dizzy or do songs with Mark Battles or do songs with all these people. Now, that's when it hit me like, I just need to make a website where artists can book their favorite rappers. They can book YouTube. And then as I thought of all the things that an artist needs, I just thought about all the resources that I used. And then I'm like, I hit that person. Cool. Will you be on the site? This is how it's going to work. This is what it's going to look like. Boop, boop, boom. They sign up. They're on this person, this person, this person. So it was literally me sitting in this desk and messaging, going through my entire contact list and messaging every single person that I thought could be helpful to any artist coming up. And boom, that was how the site launched. And then I'm like, okay, well, what else do they need? They need educational resources. They need me to talk about my experiences. They need like all my contracts that I've paid $5,000 for one contract to work with this lawyer, do a deal, whatever. Boom, y'all can have that contract for $10. Here it is. Get it. So I got 20 contracts that you can buy in a bundle for $100. You're never going to get a lawyer.
Oh, no, absolutely not.
Anything
no, I've been through
$100.
it. I've been through it, man. You're talking $200 an hour just for the associate.
Exactly. So like just giving people the best services they could possibly get. And I mean, I get messages every day like, yo, your book changed my life. Like these bundles changed my life. Or like I booked a feature with this artist and now I went from 1,000 monthly listeners to 100,000. Like it's just things you didn't have access to back when I was starting. So yeah, Indie Amplify is definitely my main focus right now. And just business in general, man. Like I have another company called Maps, which is a better version of a smart link, which we just closed our first round of funding on that. That's going crazy. And then I also manage 5 artists now too. So it's just, it's a lot. It's definitely a lot, but it's all things that like I was kind of already doing. You know, I have this creative space in the studio that everybody comes and records at.
Artwork.
Beautiful.
The lights all messed up, but it's just I have people come through here every day and they're asking me for advice and they're like, help me with this, help me with that. And I'm like, yo, like if I'm doing this, let's really do it. Let me really get behind you. Let me really take you and have label meetings. Let me really show you how to market yourself and film the content here. So yeah, man, it's just giving back to everybody that I really believe in and then giving the resources to people that deserve them and need them, you know?
So I'm just kind of curious if somebody came up to you and said like, what do you do? Like, what are you? What is that? Because you do so much and it's been successful. So like it's pretty crazy. So like, what would you say to that?
I think you just stressed him out.
Yeah, no, I pretty much say like anytime I answer the phone, everybody's like, hey, what's up? What you doing? I'm like doing a million things at once per usual. You know, like, that's my normal go-to, you know, what's up? You know, doing a million things at once. And that's kind of how it is. I've just learned to micro focus on things in a time frame. So like, just like I say, I work out and do this first thing. And then I know like that I'm from 1 to 3, I'm filming. Then at 3, I go back and spend time with my son for an hour and have lunch. And then at 4 is when I start doing interviews, podcasts, or anything that outside of my own business, like content that other people want me to do. If I book a feature, if I book a consulting session, if I book any of that, that starts at 4, you know? So like, I just make sure that my day is regimented in a way that allows me to fully be locked into one thing at a time. And like, okay, I know for these 2 hours I'm working on my artist that I'm managing. For these 2 hours, I'm working on indie. And then I'm doing the things I was booked for these 2 hours. And at the end of the day, you look back and you're like, damn, I did 2, like today I did 2 interviews, a cameo, recorded an educational video, did backside business stuff, secured funding, like in one day. You know, and worked out and got to kick it with my son and my wife. And I got a haircut. Come on, what are we talking about?
Do you, and do you give, I mean, right there in itself, though, do you give in your educational stuff that time management, one of the most critical things,
for
do you
sure.
talk about that a lot? Because that's something that people need,
yeah.
and that's what they really lack.
Yeah, I think that the biggest thing that musicians were lacking was like, yeah, people can tell you how to make a beat or how to write a verse or whatever, but nobody really talks about the mental health shit or how to manage your time. And so those are all things that I post about. And I have a whole video about micro focusing on Indie Amplify's YouTube. So yeah, it's not, and even my book is like the first half is cool. This is how you get on Spotify. This is how you get on playlists. This is whatever. And then the second half is like, this is how you don't fucking lose your mind. You know, so,
What's the name of the book, and how can people find it?
it's called The Declaration of Independence. Yeah, all about how to be an independent artist, and it's just spelled obviously independence, like
That's
independent
genius.
artist. And it's on Indie Amplify. So yeah,
I
you
love
can
that.
get you can
Yeah,
get the
and then
digital copy.
Indie Amplify. What's the website? How can people get in contact? Join the team.
Yeah, indieamplify.com is the site, and you can join Indie Amplify. It's free to join. You can sell your services on there. You can make money off music reviews, consulting, reactions, and you can also book all these people. You can sell your features. You can, if you have a poppin' platform, like y'all could technically sign up and people could pay to be on the Lobster and Beer podcast. Like anybody can really sign up and list what they have in the independent music space, and people can book you, you know? So
You've been such a forward thinker with the internet and been able to capitalize on it, including with what this is exactly, and essentially an Airbnb for people to connect with each other and stuff in the entertainment business.
Right.
You know, where did that kind of come from?
honestly, it's crazy because I suck with technology. I'm the fucking worst with technology. I don't know why my name is Futuristic, because anything futuristic, can't fuck with it. I can't do it. My videographer makes fun of me all the time, but like I'm the last person to update my phone. I'm the last person to like I only know how to use my remote. Like, don't put me at somebody else's house and tell me to put on a show, because I'm not gonna be able to do it. But nah, I think it just goes back to that mentality of like, I want to be here. How can I be here?
Yep.
Right. I want to do this thing. How can I get it? And I think it's just like not taking no for an answer. And like, there's no collab that's too big or too small. And I think that's how I was just like, even for example, like I did Jimmy Fallon, Good Morning America, Good Day New York. And I did that because I performed at Christina Aguilera's house at a Hillary Clinton fundraiser. Weird as hell. All that came from doing a remix of a song from a popular artist, A Great Big World. They had the song called Say Something. They saw my remix and put me on their next single. They had sent that song to Macklemore and other artists, but they liked my version better, put me on the song. At the end of the day, what I'm saying is no collab is too big or small. So I just outworked everybody. And then when I found a gap in the space, I was just like, okay, how can I build something that fills this gap? And so I'm not good at technology. I'm not like, I couldn't tell you about your MetaMask and your crypto wallet right now. Like I know about it and I know it's useful, and I'm having other people build an NFT service for Indie Amplify. Yep. But like, I'm not a tech person by any means. I just find gaps in the space, and then I find a way to fill the gaps. And if I feel like I need something, then I just go create what I feel like I would need. Oh, this smart link shit is ugly as fuck. I'm going to build something that's doper. Like, oh, it takes me 12 emails to communicate with somebody on how to book a feature. Let me just do it with a click of a button. And then you just find the right people to help you build it.
But what's most impressive to me though, is the moment happened, right? And there's been a couple moments in your career, but the Say Something moment happened and you recognized it. And you were like, okay, it's time to go full throttle right now. Let's release.
You have to recognize it before. That's the thing that motherfuckers don't understand. It's the Russ effect. Russ had however many songs that were out before he blew up. And same thing with me. When I blew up, it wasn't like that was my first rodeo. Like I already had 4 albums out. So when I blew up, you were putting the work in.
You were putting the work in. You were living it. That's I think in today's world, especially, you know, kids, they see an instant come up. Like all of a sudden this artist pops up on their TikTok and they're like, oh, I can do that. but they have no understanding of the actual steps and struggles, blood, sweat, and tears that led to that moment.
Even something as small as this. Like, there's been other rappers that have gone viral doing similar things to me. The difference was, like, even Big Dawes, he wanted to just shoot the shit and drop it. And I'm like, absolutely not. I need my album to be done. I need the music video to be shot. And when we drop them, we're going to drop them at the exact same time. And you're going to send people here and I'm going to send people there. And I'm going to premiere the video on this thing. And we're going to make a buzz around it to where when they see this, they go into this rabbit hole of who Futuristic is. Exactly. And so you have to create a moment around yourself, and you have to have the back catalog. Like, I feel sorry for people that go viral with their first fucking song, because you're never, ever.
You're not prepared.
You're not gonna, very rarely are you gonna live up to that again. Yeah. It's like you want people to go, that's like going to your Instagram and you have one post. Cool. I can't fall in love with you off one post. I need more. So it's like, you have to make sure that you have everything in place so that when people discover you, holy shit, they're blown away. And they can just watch your shit all day. They can just indulge in your presence, in your existence. And so that was something that I made sure of, that when I did go viral, I knew that shit was going to go viral. When it went viral, I was like, yeah, of course, boom, let's go. And I already had the next one ready, and the next one, and the next one. So even like I did a diss track about somebody. I had the next diss track ready to go before I dropped the first one. It's like, in case he responds, I got this one.
But honestly, is that the Sincerely diss track?
Yeah.
Bro, that shit, that shit goes too hard, bro. Oh my God.
Yeah. So a dude dissed me. And it was crazy because I really, like, I don't want to say I gave him a career, but pretty much 90% of his resources came from me. He decided to diss me on a song. And so I'm like, okay, cool. I'm going to respond. I thought he was going to respond again, so I already had another track ready to go. And that's the thing that I'm talking about, like, just the preparation and being prepared for the moment is I'm not dropping this until I have the other one, because if he responds today, I'll drop the next one an hour later, and people are going to be like, oh, how did he do it?
Unbelievable. It was kind of again, with all that preparation and stuff, was the thought that I'm going to go, like, I'm going to pair with influencers. I'm gonna put out kind of some stuff that I guess people would say, you know, is not your deep stuff, but then you'd kind of throw in the albums some deeper stuff, and then you'd slowly drag in the people, and then you create your cult following, which now then you can do whatever you want. Was that always the goal to get? Was that kind of the plan, or it just worked like that?
It's always been calculated. Like, even the type of fan base I wanted, it was like, okay, what does my music sound like? What are the top 10 artists that I sound like? Okay, cool. That means those are the top 10 people I need to get a feature with. Those are the shows I need to open up for. And those are the things I need to be involved in. So, like, my early days was, okay, I knew I needed to be part of, like, the funk volume shit. I knew I needed to be part of strange music type shit. MGK's cult following, Mike Stud's cult following. So my first tours all were based off me building relationships with those artists. I'm like, I'm not so like strange music or funk volume. I kind of have this cool like frat rap element to me too. So it was like drop something that sounds like what Mike Stud would do, go on tour with him, come off that tour, drop something similar to Hobson, go on his tour, and then drop my shit. That's a combination of the both of them.
And that was your business calculation is and that's, I've noticed that throughout your whole career, and like I said, that's why I think you're such a pioneer in things. More people, like I said, more people need to get on Indie Amplify, because again, you're on to some real shit for sure, and it is unbelievable the like you said, the calculation and the forethought that you put in, and how ahead it was, and again, look now at how it's paid off. I mean, it's unbelievable. More people need to get on that shit for sure.
Yeah, even with touring, that's how it was. It was like, open up a tour for this artist, open up a tour for this artist, gain their fans, now do your own tour. Like, I'm not just going to do a tour after a tour of my own. No, I got to go steal fans from Hobson and then from MGK. And then now I throw a show where you can literally tell who the Hobson fans were and who the MGK fans were. And now the blend of my fans in there. And so that's what it was. Or even like, I wanted to make money off my music. So the first thing I did was, when I marketed, I only marketed to 12 to 25-year-olds that lived in Arizona that liked the 10 artists that I was speaking about, that lived between Chandler, Mesa, Phoenix, Tempe, Gilbert. That's the only people I marketed to, so that when they fell in love with me, I could automatically quickly make money off of them from a meet and greet, from a show, from whatever. And so, yeah, bro, it was always calculated.
I'm blown away with your mind. And I want to have a second episode where we like actually dive deep into like the inner workings of your promotional mindset. Because the idea of what you just said, where you're like, man, I'm gonna make some music that's in the Hobson side. I'm gonna jump on that world. I'm gonna make some music on this side, and then once I gain the fandom from these fan bases and I have my little cult following building up, I'm gonna drop my own shit. That mindset of separation from creative, because when you go in the studio, you're making music, like I can hear it through your music. You're going in the studio, and yes, you're driven, but it's more of just it's a piece of your soul. Like your music is a piece of you. And now after talking to you, I can tell that your music is just a third arm from who you are as a human being.
Right.
But to have the mindset to be able to like separate that creative side from the business, then take the business and say, I'm going to do that, blows my mind. I want to dive into that on a later date. I know we're deep into this right now, so we can wrap it up. Man, thank you once again for being part of this. Honestly, we appreciate it so much. Like
thanks for
your
having
story.
me, man. I always love a good combo.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Last question. If you had an autobiography written about your life today, what would the title be?
Ooh. All over the place.
That's right in line with everything you said. I fucking love that. I love that.
Yeah.
Was that off the top too, or have you seen an episode?
No, I've never seen an episode. No, I've never seen. I've never seen an episode. No.
So that was off the top. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was straight off the top. That was usually our guests. They take we're like, hey, you can take some time. We're gonna cut this piece out.
Oh, that's funny.
And take your time to think about it. You just went right there,
that was perfect.
And
honestly.
that's spot on to what you've been talking about, dude.
Literally.
You're in tune, man. Like your brain and your connected consciousness is very very, very impressive to me. And that's why I would love to have like a separate conversation for our listeners, and especially the kids they're tuning in, to help understand like what it takes to get there, but also to maintain that mind state, because you've hit a lot of high moments in your life, but from my understanding now from a distance, you've always been able to maintain at this level balance. And that's rare. I think it's important to share that. Indie Amplify.
Yeah.
Everyone listening, go check out Indie Amplify. Sign up. Become a part of that. It's very important. Futuristic, dude. Thank you, brother. We appreciate it, man. Ladies and gentlemen, Futuristic, Lobster and Beer
Futuristic,
TV.
baby.
Lobster and Cider TV.
Yeah.
My dude.
I got one more bite of my roll, and then I'm up out this thing. Appreciate y'all.
Hey guys, I know we got kicked out of the bar. They called last call, but we're back. And I just want to let you know we appreciate you guys so much. Our fan base means everything to us. So if you can, hit the like button, subscribe right here, and hit us up on Instagram, socials, everything. Lobster and Beer TV. We love you. We will see you on the next episode. Peace!